Hey, you. Think about all the self-care advice that just floods your feed, right? Your inbox, even well-meaning conversations.
Mm.
Meditate for an hour. Green smoothies every morning. But honestly, has any of that generic advice truly felt like it was, designed for you?
That's really the core question, isn't it? Is so often those widespread tips feel like they're aimed at some kind of mythical everyone,
Yeah.
and they just end up missing the mark for the actual individual.
Exactly. And that's
Ugh.
precisely what we're diving into today. The often overlooked power of personalizing your self-care.
Right.
We've looked into why this one-size-fits-all approach so often fails to really resonate. And, more importantly, how you can start building wellness practices that truly align with your unique needs, your preferences.
Mm-hmm.
So our mission of this deep dive is pretty simple. Help you move beyond the generic stuff and craft a self-care routine that genuinely works for you.
Let's get into it.
Okay, so let's unpack this. Why is it that standardized self-care advice, well, why does it so often just not quite fit?
Well, a key thing that came up in our research is just the sheer diversity of human experience. It sounds obvious, but it matters here.
Okay.
What brings one person back into balance can completely deplete someone else.
Right.
Think about the difference between introverts and extroverts, for example.
Okay, yeah.
For someone who gets energy from quiet time, maybe reading in the evening, that could be deeply restorative.
Mm-hmm.
But for someone who really thrives on social interaction, that same quiet evening might actually, increase feelings of stress or even isolation.
Wow, yeah.
It really highlights how our sort of fundamental personality traits shape what we need to feel well.
It's like recommending the same workout to a marathon runner and someone just starting out walking. It
Exactly.
just doesn't fit the individual at all.
Precisely.
And it's not just personality, is it? The sources we looked at also really underlined how generic self-care often doesn't consider really crucial things like your cultural background, your financial situation, or maybe specific mental health challenges you might be navigating.
Yeah, that access point is huge.
Totally. Access to those, picture-perfect self-care things, the spa days, the yoga
Right.
retreats, it just isn't reality for a lot of people
No.
because of cost or even just where they live.
And that brings up a really important point about making self-care truly accessible, right? And relevant to everyone, whatever their circumstances.
Absolutely.
The recommendations, well, they need to be grounded in reality, achievable within diverse lives.
100%. And here's something you might not have thought about.
Yeah.
Even the term self-care itself, it doesn't really have a single clear definition.
That's true.
It gets used in so many different ways,
Yeah.
which makes it incredibly tricky to offer advice that's like universally effective.
It's like trying to follow a recipe when everyone has a slightly different idea of what a key ingredient even is.
Exactly.
Nailed it.
And building on that ambiguity, another critical thing standardized advice often just glosses over is the internal resistance we might have.
Oh, interesting. Like what?
Those really deep-seated beliefs,
Yeah.
that it's selfish to prioritize our own needs or that we should always be putting others first.
Right, the guilt factor.
Yeah. Generic tips rarely get into those powerful psychological barriers.
That's so true. You can tell yourself you should relax, but that little voice just keeps nagging you about something else you should be doing.
Mhm.
And finally, well, we can't really ignore the whole self-care industry, can we?
No, definitely not.
Sometimes it feels like the focus shifts from actually understanding what you need to feel better to just selling the latest product or experience.
Yeah, that commercialization can sometimes dilute the real purpose, can it?
Totally.
It turns self-care into just another trend to keep up with, rather than a deeply personal approach to, actual well-being.
Okay, so we've looked at why those generic self-care suggestions often fall a bit flat for people. But let's flip the script now.
Okay.
What are the real, actual benefits when we take the time to personalize our wellness practices? The research we looked at here is really encouraging, actually.
Good.
When you tailor self-care to your unique needs, it can significantly boost your overall well-being in so many ways.
Like physically.
Yeah, for example, people often feel a real boost in their physical health, increased energy levels, maybe even a reduction in the risk of chronic diseases, just by doing activities that truly nourish them.
That makes perfect sense, doesn't it? When you're
Yeah.
doing things you actually enjoy and that lower your stress, it's bound to have a positive ripple effect on your body.
Exactly.
What about the mental and emotional side, though?
Oh, the benefits there are huge. Personalized self-care can lead to really noticeable drops in stress, anxiety, and importantly, the risk of burnout.
Okay.
And interestingly, feeling more balanced and, well, cared for can also sharpen your focus and actually boost your productivity in daily life.
Wait, so investing in the right kind of self-care for me can actually make me more effective elsewhere.
Absolutely.
That's a really helpful way to look at it.
It is. And it even extends beyond just your own well-being.
How so?
When you prioritize your needs and, recharge your own batteries in a way that actually works for you, you're just much better equipped to show up fully and positively in your relationships.
Ah,
It
right.
can lead to stronger, more fulfilling connections. Think about it, like being able to truly listen and be present when you're not feeling totally drained.
That's a great point. You can't pour from an empty cup, right?
Precisely. And furthermore, when your self-care activities really align with your personal values, your interests, things that genuinely resonate with who you are,
Mhm.
it can significantly boost your self-esteem, give you a greater sense of fulfillment,
Okay.
and maybe one of the most practical upsides is you're just much more likely to actually stick with personalized routines long term.
Why is that?
Simply because they're more enjoyable and they fit more naturally into your individual lifestyle.
Consistency is so key, isn't it? It's not about these grand gestures once in a blue moon, but those regular, sustainable practices.
Exactly. And think about this. In healthcare, personalized treatment plans, they've proven much more effective for managing long-term health conditions.
Right.
While the same principle really holds true for self-care. Tailoring your practices to your specific needs leads to much better, more sustainable outcomes for your well-being.
It's about taking ownership then.
Yes,
Right.
taking ownership of your own care.
Okay, this all sounds incredibly encouraging, but where do we even start? How do we figure out our own unique self-care needs? It can feel a bit overwhelming.
It really starts with self-reflection, just taking some dedicated time to really think about different parts of your life.
Like what parts?
Your physical health, your emotional landscape, your social connections, what intellectually stimulates you, even what nourishes your spirit.
Okay.
Our research really highlighted the importance of identifying the specific stressors and triggers you face regularly, what consistently drains your energy.
Good question.
And also, consider your daily rhythms, your typical routines, the demands of work, your personal commitments. What does a typical day actually look and feel like for you?
So it's looking at the big picture of my life,
Yeah.
but also those little daily details that impact how I feel.
Precisely. And don't underestimate the power of understanding your own personality.
We touched on that earlier.
Right. Knowing if you lean more introverted or extroverted gives you huge clues about the types of activities that will truly help you recharge.
Okay.
Ultimately, personalized self-care should involve activities that genuinely bring you joy, relaxation, and a sense of renewal.
Makes sense.
And it's also really worthwhile to take an honest look at your current ways of coping with stress. Are they healthy? Are they sustainable long-term? Or are there maybe areas where you might want to explore some new approaches?
Okay, so self-reflection, taking that time to really check in with myself. Are there any specific frameworks or tools that can help guide this self-discovery process?
Yes, definitely. There are some really helpful frameworks out there. One is called Orum's self-care deficit theory.
Okay, what's that?
Basically, it encourages you to think about areas where your needs maybe aren't being fully met across a few key dimensions: physical, emotional, social, and psychological.
How would I apply that?
Well, you can ask yourself some guiding questions, like, am I getting enough restful sleep? Or how am I truly managing my stress levels? Am I nurturing meaningful connections with others? Am I incorporating practices that bring me some inner peace or mindfulness? Things like that.
Those are really practical questions to start with. What's another helpful framework?
Another really useful tool is the wellness wheel.
The wellness wheel.
Yeah, it visually represents usually about 8 different dimensions of your well-being.
Yeah.
Things like emotional, financial, environmental, intellectual, occupational, physical, social, and spiritual.
Okay, so it covers a lot.
It does. You can think of it like a personal audit across these different life areas.
Right.
For each slice of the wheel, you can ask yourself, how satisfied am I with my emotional well-being right now? Or do I feel a sense of control over my finances? Is my physical environment supportive? Do I have enough opportunities for intellectual stimulation? Am I finding satisfaction in my work? How am I prioritizing my physical health? Are my social connections fulfilling? You get the idea.
Yeah.
Am I connected to something that gives my life meaning?
Yeah.
This visual can really help you see where you might feel balanced and where you might need to direct more of your self-care efforts.
I like the idea of a visual can make it feel less abstract, maybe.
Exactly.
So these frameworks offer a kind of structured way to think about my needs across different parts of my life.
Precisely. And a really foundational element in all of this is just cultivating a deeper awareness of your own thoughts and feelings.
Right. Being mindful.
Yes. Without that inner awareness, it's really hard to tell what truly nourishes you versus what might just be, a temporary distraction.
That's a crucial distinction.
It is. We're aiming for sustainable practices for long-term well-being, not just quick fixes.
Okay.
And there's another framework, too, the PMSS framework, that's physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, and social. It's just another holistic lens to consider your needs through.
Okay, so once I have a clearer picture of my unique needs, how do I actually, how do I create my own personalized self-care toolkit? Can you give me some concrete examples of what that might look like day to day?
Absolutely. Let's think about structuring your day with personalized self-care in mind.
Okay.
For your morning routine, depending on your energy, your preferences, you could try different things. If you're a natural early bird, maybe your routine includes some quiet meditation, a bit of exercise, setting intentions for the day, a nutritious breakfast.
Right.
If you're juggling work and family right from the start, maybe your morning is more about balancing work prep with connecting with loved ones.
Yeah, that's more like it for some people.
And if you prefer a more gentle start, like you mentioned, you might focus on simple, nurturing things. Mindful breathing, lemon water, some light stretching. The key is finding what sets you up for your day positively.
I definitely resonate with that gentle start idea. No need for boot camp first thing.
Exactly.
What about slotting things in throughout the day?
Yeah, during the day, even really brief moments of self-care can make a huge difference in managing stress and keeping your energy up.
Like what kind of moments?
It could be taking just a few minutes for mindful breathing when you feel tension rising,
Mm.
or actually scheduling, say, 10, 15-minute blocks in your calendar for a specific self-care activity.
Ooh, time blocking for self-care. I like that.
Or using your lunch break to do something genuinely rejuvenating, a short walk outside, listening to music you love.
Okay, and then the evening wind down. That's often when it's easy to just get sucked into screens or whatever.
Evening routines are so important for good sleep. If you tend to go to bed earlier, having a consistent wind down is key. Limiting screen time well before bed, maybe a warm bath, calming activities like reading an actual physical book.
Right.
If you have a busier evening, maybe your routine is more like a quick, healthy dinner, a little bit of time for a relaxing hobby, a simple skincare routine, then settling in with a book.
Hmm.
But a consistent piece of advice across the board for better sleep. Minimize screen exposure in the hour or two before bed.
That's a tough one, but probably worth it.
Mhm.
These examples really help visualize how you could weave self-care into daily life.
Mm.
How do I tailor these routines based on personality?
Yeah.
Like introvert versus extrovert.
This is where it gets even more personalized, right?
Yeah.
For introverts, self-care often revolves around creating space for solitude and introspection.
Okay.
Think activities like quality reading time, a creative hobby like writing or painting, quiet time alone in nature, or just peaceful moments for reflection, maybe journaling.
Right, things that recharge internally.
Exactly. Extroverts, though, they typically gain energy and feel recharged through social interaction. So their personalized self-care might involve actively scheduling time with friends, going to social events, joining groups or clubs they're interested in, maybe even hosting gatherings.
Oh, wait.
It's all about leaning into the types of activities that naturally energize and uplift you.
That resonates so much. As someone who leans introverted, a day packed with social stuff definitely doesn't leave me feeling refreshed.
Exactly. See, and for people with busy professional lives, the key is often integrating small, manageable self-care bits throughout the day, wherever you can find a few moments.
Little pockets of time.
Yeah, even 10 minutes of guided mindfulness on your commute, maybe calming music while you work, short breaks to stretch and move, or just jotting down thoughts in a journal before bed. It all adds up. Remember, aligning self-care with your energy levels and what you genuinely enjoy is crucial. And even those small, consistent practices, they have a big cumulative effect.
Right.
And don't forget, technology can actually help here. Meditation apps, habit trackers, they can be really supportive.
So it's about finding those little moments and intentionally choosing things that really hit the spot for my own needs and preferences.
Precisely. And now, let's delve into something absolutely fundamental for making self-care not just effective, but also sustainable and truly nourishing. Self-compassion.
Self-compassion.
Yeah.
It's a term I hear, but can you break down what it really means, especially in the context of taking care of ourselves?
Absolutely. So think of self-care as the actions we take, right?
Hmm.
Self-compassion is the attitude we bring to ourselves throughout that process and really throughout all of life's ups and downs.
Okay, and attitude.
It's about treating yourself with the same kindness, understanding, and acceptance you'd naturally offer a dear friend, especially when you're struggling or you feel like you failed or just haven't measured up somehow.
Right.
Without self-compassion, you might actually find yourself feeling like you don't even deserve to prioritize your own needs,
Wow.
which obviously creates a huge barrier to consistently doing self-care.
So it's about being kinder and gentler with myself, basically, through
It's
everything.
Exactly. Self-compassion acts as this powerful antidote to harsh self-criticism and that guilt that can pop up when we do choose to prioritize
Yeah,
ourselves.
that guilt can be strong.
It can. Self-compassion has three core components. First is self-kindness, just being warm and understanding towards yourself instead of critical.
Okay.
Second is common humanity, recognizing that imperfection, struggle, it's all part of the shared human experience. Everyone goes through difficulties.
Right, I'm not alone in it.
Exactly. And third is mindfulness, being aware of your painful thoughts and feelings with openness, with acceptance, rather than trying to ignore them or judge yourself for having them.
Those all sound really important. How can I actually, cultivate more self-compassion in my day-to-day life?
Yeah, there are several practical ways. Practicing mindfulness, whether through meditation or just bringing present moment awareness to your day, helps you observe thoughts and emotions without getting totally swept away. Reminding yourself that everyone struggles, that common humanity piece, helps you feel less isolated.
Okay.
Making a conscious effort to talk to yourself kindly, like how would you comfort a friend? Try offering that same warmth to yourself. It can gradually shift your inner voice.
Hmm. Changing the internal dialogue.
Yes. When you inevitably have setbacks or make mistakes, try responding with gentle understanding, not harsh judgment. Engaging in self-soothing practices, things that just bring you comfort, like a warm bath, calming music, time in nature that's also showing yourself compassion.
Okay.
Even techniques like imagining how you'd comfort a friend in your situation and then directing that same support inward. That can be surprisingly powerful.
It really sounds like self-compassion is almost the foundation, isn't it? The bedrock upon which truly effective, sustainable self-care is built.
That's a wonderful way to put it. Honestly, in a society that often pushes constant productivity and achievement,
Yeah.
giving yourself permission to rest, to mess up, to be imperfect without beating yourself up, it's actually a pretty radical act of self-preservation.
Radical self-preservation. I like that.
Self-compassion acts as a buffer against the negative hits from stress and stops that downward spiral of self-blame. Ultimately, it transforms self-care from something you feel you should do
Right. Another task.
into a genuine act of kindness and care towards yourself.
This has been so enlightening. Now, as I start trying to implement more personalized self-care, are there resources or tools that can help me keep checking in with myself and, adjust my routines over time?
Absolutely. There are tons of resources available now to support your ongoing wellness journey.
Like what?
You can find lots of online self-care assessment tools. They can give you valuable insights into where you're at across different areas.
Okay.
Mental Health America, MHA, they offer excellent anonymous mental health screening tools and interactive resources on their website. That can be a great starting point for understanding your mental health needs better.
MHA. Got it.
They also have helpful worksheets for tracking mood or planning healthy lifestyle changes. You might also find specific self-care quizzes online that offer personalized action plans based on your answers.
Okay.
And if you're interested in tracking specific symptoms, say for anxiety or depression, standardized scales like the PHQ-9 or the GAD-7 can be useful tools to monitor your progress.
Right, the clinical ones.
Exactly. And of course, revisiting something like the Wellness Wheel assessment periodically can help you spot any shifts in your needs across those different life dimensions.
That's a great overview of assessment tools.
Yeah.
What about resources to help me actually do the self-care and track how it's going?
Yeah, there's a fantastic array of well-being and habit tracking apps now.
Oh, yeah. Apps.
Apps like Finch, Fabulous, Tangerine, Dailyo, Reflectly, they can help you monitor your mood, track your self-care activities, keep you aligned with your goals.
Mhm.
If you want to bring more mindfulness and meditation into your routine, apps like Headspace, Calm, Insight Timer offer a huge variety of guided sessions and resources. For managing anxiety and depression specifically, apps like Sanvelo, Happify, WorryWatch have useful tools and techniques.
Right.
If sleep is a big focus for you, Calm, sleep cycle, headspace, they all have features designed to help improve sleep habits.
Sleep is huge.
It is. And for journaling fans, apps like Stoic or the 5-Minute Journal offer structured prompts to guide reflection.
Okay.
The beauty of these digital tools is just how accessible and convenient they are, right?
Totally.
And combining those self-assessment tools with tracking apps, that creates a really powerful feedback loop, lets you continuously learn what works best for you.
Mhm.
Plus, many have free trials or free versions so you can explore without committing right away.
It's really reassuring to know there are so many accessible resources out there to support this journey. Now, are there any common mistakes, like pitfalls people fall into when they're trying to personalize their self-care that I should maybe watch out for?
Yes, definitely some common pitfalls to be aware of. One big one is falling into the trap of treating self-care like just another chore on your to-do list.
Ugh. Yeah, defeats the purpose.
Totally. It should feel nurturing, restorative, not like one more obligation.
Right.
Another is confusing genuine self-care with avoidance behaviors, like using activities that seem like self-care as a way to put off other responsibilities.
Ooh, tricky one.
Yeah. Be cautious, too, of self-care habits that are actually unsustainable or unhealthy long-term, like overindulging in things that don't truly nourish you.
Mhm.
Also, make sure you're choosing activities that genuinely rejuvenate you, rather than things that feel like work or end up draining your energy or resources.
Okay.
Avoid using self-care as an excuse to consistently neglect responsibilities or commitments. That's not what it's about.
Right.
And a really important one, try not to compare your self-care routine to what you see others doing, especially online.
Oh, yeah, the comparison trap. It's so easy to fall into that these days.
It truly is. What works wonders for someone else might be totally wrong for you.
Yeah.
Also, aim to be proactive. Don't wait until you're completely overwhelmed or burnt out to do something. Try to build it in regularly.
Right. Preventative.
Yes. Focusing only on external appearances as self-care without addressing your inner well-being. That can be a bit superficial too.
Okay.
Remember that your needs will change over time. Your routine might need updating as you grow and life shifts.
Good point.
A lack of self-awareness about your true needs is a huge barrier, and so is being too rigid with your plan when life inevitably throws curveballs. Flexibility is key. Don't feel pressured to do self-care the correct way. There isn't one. What matters is that it genuinely benefits you.
Right.
And finally, it helps to keep a clear distinction between self-care, self-indulgence, and pure escapism. Occasional treats are fine, sure, but your main self-care should really aim to promote long-term health and well-being.
These are all such valuable reminders. It really sounds like personalizing self-care is this ongoing process, isn't it? Learning, adapting.
Precisely. And that's exactly where the practices of mindfulness and self-reflection become incredibly valuable, like guiding lights.
Okay, so how can incorporating mindfulness and self-reflection specifically help me in personalizing and continually adapting my routine?
Well, mindfulness, just paying attention to right now without judgment, offers so much for self-care.
Like what?
It helps reduce rumination, stress, improves focus, makes you less emotionally reactive. By cultivating mindfulness, you just get more attuned to your current needs right now, and you can better observe how different practices actually feel. Are they really restorative? Or just a temporary distraction?
Okay, that clarity.
Exactly. And then self-reflection, intentionally looking inward, examining thoughts, feelings, behaviors that boosts self-awareness, improves decision-making, supports personal growth.
Right.
It gives you the space to evaluate, is my current routine really serving me? Where might I need to adjust?
So checking in regularly.
Yes. Setting aside time for regular self-check-ins, maybe journaling, maybe just quiet contemplation, really facilitates that reflection. Okay.
Mindfulness and self-reflection, they work together. It's like this wonderful continuous loop.
How so?
By being more present and observant, mindfulness, you gain deeper insights into what truly nourishes you. And those insights then inform how you adapt and personalize your routine, self-reflection.
Ah, I see the loop.
Yeah. These practices really empower you to become your own self-care expert. They foster that sense of agency over your own well-being.
Mm-hmm.
And they help you tell the difference between genuine needs and, fleeting desires or what society says you should want.
So it's really about developing that inner compass, isn't it?
Yeah.
Guided by present moment awareness and thoughtful reflection to navigate my own unique self-care journey.
Exactly. That's perfectly put.
Well, this has been an incredibly insightful deep dive into why personalizing self-care is just so important. It's so clear now that standardized advice, well, it often misses the mark. And embracing our individual paths to well-being is absolutely key. We've explored the many benefits boosting health, productivity, relationships.
We've discussed practical ways to identify unique needs using self-reflection and those helpful frameworks. We looked at examples of customized routines for different lifestyles, different personalities,
Right.
and really emphasized that vital role of self-compassion in making it all sustainable and kind. Plus, we touched on valuable resources and those common pitfalls to watch out for.
And I think the most important takeaway is just that understanding and meeting your own self-care needs. It's a continuous journey. It's ongoing self-discovery.
Yeah,
It's about that constant self-reflection, using the tools and resources available, and remembering always that cultivating self-compassion is the essential ingredient that turns self-care into a truly kind and supportive practice for yourself.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, please remember, your path to well-being is uniquely yours. Embrace that individuality.
Mhm.
Keep exploring what truly nourishes you. Keep adapting your practices as you evolve. And maybe most importantly, be kind and patient with yourself through it all.
So maybe now, consider this. What's one small, intentional step you could take today to further personalize your own well-being journey?
Or perhaps just reflect on one key insight from our conversation today and think about how you might begin to weave that into your life, maybe starting this week.